You'd lose your mind. If you worked 7 days a week, you'd just have a revolt. Everybody would get the pitchforks and the torches, and they would just march towards their boss and, like, burn it all down.
Right, because this is one of the very reasons why people give up fitness or give up a diet, because they think it's about boiled chicken and broccoli for the rest of their life, and it doesn't have to be that way. So I'll have a whole pound of pasta with about, 16 ounces of some sort of chicken or shrimp or steak chopped in there. Then I'll have, my wife will usually make me some sort of personal pizza.
Back to back.
Oh yeah. And then she'll make some like chocolate chip cookies or something like that. Like I'll have another pizza,
Pizza number 2.
Yeah. And then dinner can be a bunch of different things. It could be another pound of pasta with some chicken cutlets.
I'm Italian, and that is insane. No one eats 2 pounds of pasta a day. That is crazy.
And then, there's dessert. Breyer's ice cream with whipped cream, and I'll crack some of the leftover cookies in there or something like that.
I'm glad I asked this, because I wasn't even close. In my mind, when I was like coming up with what your cheat day was gonna be, it wasn't even close to what this is. This is insane. All right, we all know my favorite part of being in shape and exercising is having a cheat day here and there, and sometimes more than just here or there for me. But cheat days are important mentally, probably important physically.
Oh yeah.
And they're a lot of fun.
Yep.
So, what are we talking about here? Like, why do we need cheat days?
Okay, so you could call them cheat days, you could call them refeed days, and there's 2 reasons, Nick, that are the most important. One, if I say, hey, Nick, you're gonna eat this diet, but you're gonna eat it for the rest of your life and you can't stray from it at all.
Oh, I'll lose my mind.
Exactly.
Here's some boiled chicken. That's all you're gonna have. You're basically in a prison camp. Good luck with it.
Exactly, right? So you say, yeah, screw it, I wanna be fat because it's happy that way, right? So there's that, but there's also—
So you're saying it gives you something to look forward to.
That's correct.
Okay.
In human nature, we're always striving towards things. When people stop striving towards things, that's where they really kind of run out of gas in life.
Right.
Okay. So if you're working on building a podcast, or you're building a family, or building a business, the building is where the juice is.
And I've said this
right?
before, every year people should pick one thing to work towards.
Absolutely.
Small or big, it doesn't matter. Make it small just so you feel good about yourself. Make it big and you'll feel even better, but pick one thing every year. I know, people have a lot going on. Times can be tough. You got kids, you got a job, you got all this other stuff. So pick something small, but pick something and work towards a goal.
You have to work towards a goal. So when you eat healthy, right? So you have the goal there, right? It's like, okay, today's Monday, I got to make it till Friday night. There's a goal right there, and boom. And now I know I'm working towards having all the forbidden foods, or the foods were told by Nick and Mike that I can't eat anymore because I'm fat, I'm sick, I'm hypertensive. But now I know that I can have these foods because I'm achieving my fitness and the goals that are set out for me. Okay. But there's also other reasons metabolically so that's more of the psychological and the reward system.
Yeah.
And that is a very, very important. It's like going to work and never getting a weekend.
I was just going to say, everybody's working for the weekend, right? You'd
Exactly.
lose your mind. If you worked 7 days a week, you'd just have a revolt. Everybody would get the pitchforks and the torches, and they would just march towards their boss and, burn it all down.
Right. And this is very, very important. You need to share this video, because this is a very important video for people, Nick, because this is one of the very reasons why people give up fitness or give up a diet, because they think it's about boiled chicken and broccoli for the rest of their life. And it doesn't have to be that way, especially when you're in shape. Because when you're in shape, Nick, and all your blood work comes back normalized and you're insulin sensitive, the foods that got you in trouble, that you were eating on a regular, first off, you probably won't want those foods most of the time anyway, because your palate changes, but they respond and react so different in a very fit, active body than they do when somebody's sedentary or they're doing inferior workouts and stuff like that. But also another important aspect to cheating or refeeding is about getting what we call a bolus of calories. So it's abundance. So for easy math, let's say somebody gets fat on 4,000 calories a day. They're eating on average about 4,000 calories, because whether you're gaining or losing, everybody hits a plateau. And if you look at someone's calorie load on a 7-day system, they'll average out to be the same, maybe 200 calories more here and 100 calories, but it kind of just shakes out to be the same at some point.
So you're saying if you're having, let's just say 4,000 calories a day, that could equal 30 extra pounds, but you're going to plateau at that 30 at 4,000 calories a day?
At some point, if somebody's body weight stabilizes, on average, they are, whether they realize it or not, they're at a maintenance caloric intake. So let's say somebody puts on 30 pounds and they needed 4,000 calories to get that body fat on.
Sure.
They're not now taking 5,000 or 6,000 calories. And if they were, they would still continue to put on more weight.
Okay.
So they start getting into a maintenance caloric intake for that body weight. So now that person's at 4,000 calories for easy math, and they bring it all the way down to 2,000. Logic would tell you this is a huge reduction, right, in calories, and the person's going to lose weight. But at some point, Nick, they're going to get all the symptoms of metabolic slowdown. And there can be hair loss for women and in men, loss of period, a loss of sex drive, cold hands and extremities, so feet and your hands, because they're the furthest thing from your heart. And sometimes somebody could get a cold nose. And this is times where it's actually warm outside. This is a stress response. Just feeling like they don't want to work out. Maybe they're getting little nags and injuries from training. And this is a sign now that your body has overcompensated and slowed its metabolic. Everybody talks about a slow metabolism. A lot of people that talk about slow metabolism really just don't understand the way the metabolism works. And sometimes the actual thyroid can downregulate. Now, the thyroid is the master hormone, or the master gland, I should say, of the body. So if the thyroid, and this is called hibernation syndrome, where the thyroid can actually slow itself down to compensate for the huge reduction in calories, and the person will start to actually have major problems. Now, a way to combat that is to give your body a bonus of calories for a day, half a day, a night. And it says, aha.
So it like wakes your thyroid back up?
Yes, it stimulates T3, T4 conversion. It can, there's also two hormones in your body called leptin and ghrelin, and these are hunger satiation hormones. And when somebody's on a diet for a long time, these can get skewed. And if anybody's really ever been on a restrictive diet, bodybuilders will tell you this all day long. No one diets harder than bodybuilders or fitness competitors.
Because they got to get shredded before a competition.
Shredded to the bones, right? The last week or two before that show, these people are just dying because they have no body fat. They've been on such a restricted diet. They're doing tons of cardio, and they were usually start out being super fit to begin with.
Yeah.
And they are just looking for anything the day after that show, after the show is over that night. So, and they'll really, sometimes these bodybuilders and fitness competitors, they actually over diet for the show and they lose, or they don't place well because they're over dieting. And 2 days later, when they cheat, they look phenomenal. They do a photo shoot and they look 10 times better in the photo shoot because, or the muscles fill out, the blood volume, they got sodium from the food, and they say, shit, I failed in the show, but 2 days later, a lot of these fitness competitors will do photo shoots and stuff afterwards. And they say, God, if I would have looked like this 2 days later after I cheated, I would have won the show.
Wow.
So too much dieting can really sabotage someone's fitness goals. So it's not about giving them a reward.
Because most people will think that these cheat days will just reverse all the gains that they made, and they try to hold that off. I mean, that would be the way I would think about it, right? Like, it's like, oh man, if I have that one cheat day, I just wasted 2 weeks. Why did I even do that? And then you beat yourself up, you get down on yourself. But in reality, it sounds like this is something that you want to do, and thank freaking God, because I want that cheat day.
So, and you know what? And for people that have, because there are some people that will be watching this video right now, Nick, and they'll say, Nick and Mike don't know what they're talking about. Every time I do a cheat day, I put on 5, 6, 7, 10 pounds, and they're right. But here's the deal. Don't tune off. They are restocking what's called muscle glycogen. So when they have that cheat day, Nick,
This is like the drinking game on the show. Whenever Mike says muscle glycogen, because I feel like I've heard this a bunch, that's when you have a drink of water for me, or, perhaps whatever Mike's having over there. I don't know what it is. It's not water. I know that for sure. But that's the drinking game for our show. Muscle glycogen.
It's Friday, right, Nick?
It's always Friday for Mike Lynch.
It is.
but yes, in your muscles, you have these cells, and you think about them like water balloons, right? And when they're hydrated, carbohydrate, most people are going to cheat, and there's going to be some carbs in there. Those muscle cells get filled, and the muscle gets hard and round and nice curve, and the skin gets tight to it. And when you think about a water balloon, if you take a water balloon, I don't know what a water balloon weighs filled, but let's say it's 2 pounds. If you let all the water out of it, it's going to weigh maybe 0 pounds or whatever.
So you're
a gram.
saying, yes, you might be gaining weight, but that's good weight to gain.
It's false weight. It's just the muscle cells are hydrated.
Okay.
No one gets fat in a 24-hour period. I mean, I'm sure that somebody that could eat, like these hot dog professionals that can eat.
They usually
a hot
purge
dog
at the
truck.
end, right?
Right. But most people, when they're dieted, think about this, everyone. You have these cells all over your body filled with water balloons. And as the week goes, you're dieting, you're sweating, and these balloons are just letting out water.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you're burning body fat when that happens too, provided you're eating correctly and, you're exercising appropriately. And then the cheat day comes, and there's sodium and there's carbohydrates and the cell just gets rehydrated. And now they step on the scale and they're like, I mean, you can feel muscle glycogen, take a sip. By the way, Nick, this is the best game you've ever come to. I'm going to say muscle glycogen every single time. So, but when you fill this glycogen in, it can really equate to almost 10 pounds. And that freaks the dieter out, which is totally understandable. They're
Right,
like, oh my
because you
God.
might have only lost 10 pounds over the course of the last few weeks.
It's impossible to get fat in 24 hours. Now, what happens
So
is...
you're saying, though, then over the course of the next few days after the cheat day, you're going to then lose that weight again? You're going to get back to a more stable...
You're actually going to, usually, if you do it right, and maybe we definitely need to do a couple of different videos on cheat days or refeed days, because there's different ways they can do it and different strategies. And I think that people really love this stuff and they need to know it. I'll tell you a story. So I won't use the woman's name because I'm not training her anymore, but she was, she's had trainers for a long period of time. She may even watch this show, so you know who you are, and it's a good story. And she had plenty of money, and she had 10, 20 trainers. She knew somebody that I knew, and he said, hey, listen, you got to get in with this guy. And she came in training 5 days a week with me right off the bat. She wanted 5 days. I'm like, all right. And she came in and she grinded. She was a worker, because there's people that would say, oh, I tried everything and they're lazy. This woman was willing to do the work, but she had been on so many diets. And she told me what she was on, Nick. And she was taking like 1,250 calories. And she was like getting so myopic.
And just so people know, what is a normal amount of a caloric intake a day for like a grown-up who's of average weight?
So
2,000 calories, like about average?
So the best way to for people that are active, a maintenance caloric intake is going to be about 15 calories per pound of body weight.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, it depends on the person and activity levels, but it could be maintenance for a man could be 2,800. Maintenance for a woman that works out hard could be 2,100, 2,200, depending on bone size, muscle.
Okay, so there's a lot of factors.
Yes, there is.
Okay, so she's at like 12 or 1,300.
She was like bare bones, like lay in a hospital with like on life support amount of calories.
Which is not a fun way to live.
No. But she was a hard worker and she was willing. I mean, when she came in with her diet, it was like to the berry. I mean, it was crazy. So I said to her, after training her for a few weeks, this is a great story. You need to listen. I said, listen, you're not lazy. You're willing to do the work. I know if I tell you to go and lift trees after you leave here and push cars, you'll do it for 2 hours afterwards. I said, your problem is, yeah, your training was screwed with the other trainer. It was the wrong way, but you're willing to do the work. Your diet is the problem. And she said, what do you mean? I said, you're so over-dieted. Years and years and years of training and cardio and training and cardio and dieting.
And she was still she was still above the weight she wanted?
She wanted to look perfect, right?
Okay.
Any woman that would look at this woman would want to punch her. She said she wanted to lose weight, but she had some body fat still to give away. She probably had to lose about 6 or 7 pounds, but she looked good already, okay? But she wanted to look phenomenal, which is great.
Fine.
I said, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go home, and I just rattled off. I'm like, I want you to go and eat chicken pasta. And then I want you to have a huge omelet with pancakes. And she looked at me like, what? And I said, I want you to do that for like a whole week. And I just want you to keep on coming and training me. And she's like, are you serious? I'm like, yep. And she didn't, like 2 days she came in, she wouldn't listen. And I said, what do you have to lose? I'm like, how long have you been stuck at this? And she had this pair of jeans that these one pair of jeans she was trying to get into, you know? I said, how long have you been trying to get into those jeans that you keep on telling me that? She's like, years. And she's like, my husband asked me if you know what the you're talking about.
Which I ask myself all the time.
Yeah. So I said, I don't know. What do you have to lose though? And she went and did it. She gave me a couple of texts, saying, oh my God, this is so fun, but I'm freaking out right now, whatever. And like after 3 days, she put on weight. I'm like, keep on going. Keep on going. And one of the signs people want to look for is if they have metabolic slowdown, once they start to refeed their body, they'll start to get hot. It's called thermogenesis, right? And she's like, I don't know, Mike, I'm putting on weight. I don't know. I said, shut up and just listen to me. This is why you're paying me when you pay me. And then the 7 days came and I said, okay, here's the diet we're going to put you on. I put her on a good diet. And I said, and what we just did for a week, you're going to do it next Saturday. Now it's going to be every 7 days. And she lost all the weight. And by the end of the next week, she was down for the first time 3.5 pounds. She couldn't budge a pound for years because her body was so held back. Every little morsel of food that she was putting in her body was holding on for dear life because she had been starving it for years and overtraining. And what I did is I came in and I said, hey, food is in abundance. It's okay to give up some body fat. So this is just an example of, will show you that your body will hoard calories and body fat if you screw with it, i.e. diet, all the time. And you really, Nick, you got to take your hat off to people because some people are just hardcore and they're willing to just suffer. But they suffer to a point where they actually are causing their own problems and causing their own metabolic unwell or their metabolic damage. They're unwell because they damage their metabolism, that they slow their thyroid. And after that, the hormones start to come down. I mean, we never really got into it, but I'm sure she wasn't bursting with sexual energy too, because she was running on fumes for so long. I don't know how this woman trained as hard as she was. It just goes to show you what the human mind can do.
Yeah, you can really push yourself.
But man, she ended up losing all the weight. And it wasn't anything magical that I did. I just kind of know the science of how the body works.
So let me ask you this. Is it a total free-for-all on a cheat day? Can you have anything? Is it candy? Is it cookies? Is it cake? Or is it just some carbohydrates? Is it maybe a little bit of some refined sugar? Is it, where are the guardrails here?
Right. That's a good question. And again, we're going to have to do a couple of different videos on this because there's a cheat day and then there's what I call a refeed day. So this is for
they're different.
Well, no, they could be two in a week. And that's when somebody's really peeled.
So is a refeed day just increasing your calorie, but a cheat day is having different foods?
I'll call it a bump day where it's like low calories for a few days and then we bring the calories up. And this is anybody who's dieted. always hits a plateau, and these are plateau busters. So to answer your original question, and maybe we'll do a second video on this, it really depends on the person that we're dealing with, right? Does the person have any sort of health issues? If someone's diabetic,
Right.
if they've had a heart attack, if they're hypertensive, then we gotta be very smart in our calorie surplus. Maybe it's more sweet potatoes and more chicken breast and some more beans and lentils and, you know, red skin potatoes and oatmeal and extra banana, but we'll bring their calories up, but it's in a smarter way. Okay.
But let's say they have no pre-existing condition.
No one's got pre-existing conditions. Maybe their cholesterol's a tiny elevated or something like that. You know, they can have a free-for-all. But what I say is go for the best thing. Fat is not going to really serve you the best on this. This is where you want to go into your carbohydrates and your proteins.
So no fats, or lower on the fat,
Lower on the
higher
fats.
on the proteins and the carbohydrates for that day.
Correct. Correct. Because what we want to do, most people, here we go, will deplete that glycogen, and what and what restores glycogen is glucose. And where we're going to get glucose from carbohydrates. You want to have protein with that, obviously, to support muscle and training. Now, it doesn't have to be low fat, but it should be on the lower fat side. Okay. Now, if somebody's ketogenic or they're like a low carb diet, then obviously they can fat load as well, but I don't really see the benefit for taking in more fat because fat is not stored. Well, you can store fat in muscle, but it's something you want to do. But I think that even if somebody's on a ketogenic diet, they can do what's called cyclo-ketogenic, where they're taking a day where they're not losing their ability to eat carbohydrates. And nothing is going to reset that thyroid and the pituitary gland and fill out the muscle glycogen like carbohydrates. So yeah, we want to keep the... Thank God that's not booze.
Yeah.
So we want to keep the fat on the lower side and bolus up protein and carbohydrates.
So walk me through a Mike Lynch cheat day.
Oh boy.
Right? So it's a Saturday, you worked hard all week, you've been eating, dry beans and plain boiled chicken with no salt all week, and all of a sudden you say to yourself, today I live. So what does that day look like?
So are we talking about a winter cheat day here in New York, or are we talking about the summer?
What am I going to like more? I think I'm going to like a winter cheat day more because you're not trying to...
You're going to like winter cheat day.
Let's go for a winter cheat day then.
But if I get super shredded, actually I have to cheat even harder.
Okay, so give me your hardest cheat day. What are we talking about here? Live your best life.
Oh my God. All right. So I'll generally wake up and work. My cheat day usually falls on a Saturday because I'm with the boys, Mrs. Lynch is off. So that's my day. And
you're with the family, you want to live.
I think that jives pretty well with most people. So I'll usually wake up, I'll get my workout in. Now, we can get into it in another video. I particularly think that it's good to do cheat day on a hard training day. So you kind of earning, you're really making sure that the towel is wrung out. You're depleting yourself through that week and then do something that's really hard hitting. And you know that when that workout's over, you've left it all on the gym floor and now you're going to restock everything back. So I'll, have a couple cups of coffee, train, take a shower.
No food before your first training session.
I generally don't because it's Saturday. I'm training early, so
sure.
If I was trying to really bulk up, I may have a protein shake, but I don't, at 52, I don't try to bulk up anymore.
Okay.
So then I'll take a shower and then, Nick, it's usually pasta right off the bat. I'll have
breakfast pasta.
Yeah. Well, by the time I train and shower and whatever.
Late morning.
Late morning, but I get up at 4:30 in the morning. So that's the average person's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So I'll have a whole pound of pasta with about, 16 ounces of some sort of chicken or shrimp or steak chopped in there. I'll start with that. Then my wife will usually make me some sort of personal pizza and I'll have that. Okay?
Back to back.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah, people don't believe I do this shit. And then she'll make some like chocolate chip cookies or something like that, and I'll snack on those like a couple hours later.
Gluten-free.
Be gluten-free always. I've been gluten-free for 19 years now. So I'll have those. And here's the thing, pay attention. Now the older Mike Lynch that doesn't want to have a heart attack, or my cholesterol could get a little wonky. Now when she makes the pasta, I don't throw the cheese on it anymore. So it's like boring tomato sauce or whatever.
Okay.
And my palate has changed. I don't even want that stuff anymore. Gets me congested and stuff. And then even with the cookies, she'll make it with applesauce instead of oil. So she makes these cheat foods where they're modified. And in my mind, it all shakes out to the same, because if I had it with the butter and the oil in it, I may have only 10 cookies. But if she makes it the applesauce, it gives me will to have 30 cookies.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll have that.
So
And
you're
then-
not going to the Keebler Elves for these cookies. You're going to Mrs. Lynch, which,
No,
by the way, kudos to you. I mean, and to Mrs. Lynch, it sounds like she's really hooking you up.
Yeah, she is. And she hooks herself up too, by the way. She eats them. But yeah, I just I've tried to do with the Oreos, and I don't know, it just doesn't do it for me. Kind of gets me sick.
Okay.
Like, it's so sugary.
Also, who knows what else is in there?
Yeah, who knows?
It's not applesauce. I'll tell you that. It's not applesauce. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So,
So then
keep it going. Keep
I'll
it
have
going.
that. And then there's usually some sort of I'll have another pizza,
Pizza number 2.
Yeah. And then sometimes like dinner can be a bunch of different things. It could be another pound of pasta with some chicken cutlets.
I'm Italian, and that is insane. No one eats 2 pounds of pasta a day. That is crazy.
I actually did last week. I was pretty nauseous afterwards.
Okay.
And that's the goal. And I'll talk about that. So, and then with chicken cutlets, and then, there's dessert, the second dessert. And that will usually be some sort of ice cream.
I'm glad I asked this, because I wasn't even close. In my mind, when I was like coming up with what your cheat day was going to be, it wasn't even close to what this is. This is insane.
Yeah. I'll do like a Breyer's ice cream with whipped cream, and I'll crack some of the leftover cookies in there or something like that. Or my wife will screw around in the kitchen. She'll make like cornbread.
It's worth working out all week just to have this day. Everyone wants this day, and no one can. I'm sure some people are having this day without the working out, but being able to like look good and still have this day, that is amazing.
Oh, dude. Yeah, it's great. Or another big thing, and I wanted you to have this today, and you turned me down on it.
Don't say it.
Chocolate chip pancakes.
I hate pancakes.
What's wrong with you?
Sorry. I don't like pancakes.
What'd your mom do you?
It's not my mom. She was great. Mom, I love you. It has nothing to do with the I don't know. I don't like.
Oh, your son.
It's like a sugary sponge. It's terrible. I don't like it. I don't like it.
Well, Nick,
I'm not big on sweets. In general, I'm not big on sweets, and especially in the morning, I don't want anything sweet.
okay.
I just don't.
Well, that's
I
good.
like carbs. I'll have a bunch of like savory stuff in the morning. I'll even eat I can eat dinner in the morning. My stomach doesn't have like a clock.
Yeah.
I can wake up and have dinner.
that's
No problem.
That's a scam, by the way.
Yeah, that you're supposed to have different things in the morning.
Yep.
Yeah, like I don't. I'll have leftovers sometimes for breakfast, especially if I'm like home alone, no one's there, and I look and I see an awesome dinner that we had last night still in the fridge. I'm like, I'm having that right now. As soon as I see it, I want it. My mouth's watering right now thinking about having dinner for breakfast. But pancakes?
Well, so I have that, and usually by then, I'm popping Tums, watching some sort of movie on Netflix with Mrs. Lynch, saying, "What the hell is wrong with me?" But the times in my life that I was trying to be extra strict, my body would suffer. Like, I wouldn't look good. There was a couple of times, look, everything that we're teaching everybody is 30 years in the making, right? So there were times where I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to be strict. I'm not going to cheat for 2 weeks. Let me tell you something. By day 14, Nick, my body looked like shit. My training sucked.
And we've told people
my
this
sex
before.
drive sucked.
You got to earn those carbs. If you haven't seen our carbohydrate videos, go back and check those out. But you got to earn those carbs, and this is you earning those carbs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, truth be told, I don't want to pat myself on the back, but when I train. So I'm earning it for sure. And my nutrition is dialed in Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
You know, have I had times in my life where something bad has happened and I had a case of the kids during the week? Yes, but truth be told, Monday through Friday, I'm very methodical.
Yeah.
I'm not on a low calorie diet, but I'm
A healthy diet.
eating a healthy diet.
Yeah.
And I am not missing workouts. So, you know, definitely earning the cheat meal.
So what's your takeaway? What do you want people to take away from this episode? What are the guidelines that people should follow if they're saying, well, Mike and Nick said I can have a cheat day, let's have at it?
Okay. So 99% of the people are probably not where they want to be as far as their body goes, right? There's an old saying, show me a truly satisfied person, you showed me a failure. So people are always striving to get better. But let's say somebody they're like, I've reached the top of the top. Then they can have a day where they just eat whatever they want all day long. You know, protein, carbs, about 50-50, and then maybe a little fat on there. Now, if somebody's still working towards a goal, here's what I say. Take a day where you're training hard, eat your normal diet, and start at your last meal. Because it's very hard to cheat in the morning and then go and have a salad afterwards. Right? So eat your meal plan. Last meal of the day is a cheat. Have whatever you want, a glass of wine, some pasta with some shrimp, whatever your thing is, pancakes, taco, whatever it is. And work backwards. So if you're still progressing and that helped, maybe like that girl that I talked about, maybe they dropped a pound or two the following week. Add a second cheat day. Go back and work it to however you get to. Maybe some people can only have one meal. Maybe some people need 2 meals, 3 meals. When I'm really shredded, it's an all-day event for me. It's an all-day event.
But you got to work towards that all day.
Yes.
Event. So in the beginning, when you're still trying to lose weight, your cheat day is really a cheat meal at the end of a day where you trained.
And work backward.
Right.
Right. If you see it helps you, do it for a week or two, and then say, all right, let me try 2 of those now.
So then you do a lunch and a dinner, or your afternoon snack and dinner, whatever it is.
And work your way back until you find that sweet spot, no pun intended, where you have as many meals, because you're going to be, that's the one takeaway too. When you eat that meal, you have to shake the hand to the idea of, I don't get this again for 7 days.
Yeah,
right?
This is not your giving up on your diet. This is your reward.
Right. And a lot of mistakes that people make with cheat days too is they dip their foot in the puddle. Don't do that. Go in, have at it. Like, don't be guilty about it. Eat a good amount of it. Reward yourself, because if you just take a little bit, that you're screwing with yourself that way. You know, I find that works worse than anything. So if you're having pasta with chicken, let's say, have a nice big bowl of it, provided you have no health problems, diabetes or hypertension or anything like that. And really give yourself that's the whole goal of it, to give yourself a reward, but to give yourself extra calories. It's in addition to you, but you replace it with one of it. You subtract your last meal and replace it with that.
Mm-hmm.
And go with that until you get to the point where you know the exact amounts. And maybe people say, hey man, I really don't like kind of a bunch of crappy stuff. I only want one meal. Okay, fine. But for people that like, you know, tacos, and they like pizza, and they like ice cream, and they like different things, that can give them where they're eating it throughout the day. And then Sunday morning, they're back in the gym, they're back on their meal plan. And this is what sustainability looks like, Nick.
Right. And sometimes a cheat day is like you went to a party, right? So you can work that into your week. You say, I know I'm going to a party on Saturday. I know I have a thing on Thursday night. So this week my cheat day is on Thursday because I'm going out. And that way you can still live a healthy lifestyle and be social.
Yep.
And go out and be with friends and not feel guilty and not say like, yeah, I'll go and I'm going to sit there like a lump on a log and not do anything or say anything.
Right.
You can still enjoy yourself.
Yes. If you have, truth be told, as I get older, I'm not as strict as I used to be. So if I have a cheat day and you were having a party on Sunday night, I'd be like, I'm going to get an extra meal in, because I'm pretty much in maintenance mode. But back when Mike Lynch was like militant, and yeah, if I knew that I was going to a wedding on Sunday, My cheat day now is on Sunday.
But if you have a lot of weight to lose, you want to be militant for a little
You
while,
have to be,
right?
yes.
6 months, a year, 3 years, 5 years, depending. If you have a lot of weight to lose and you're on a 2, 3, 4-year plan, you got to be militant for a couple of years.
Yes.
To get some shit done.
I should still be militant. I shouldn't have ate pasta this morning at 3 o'clock in the morning with a vodka and maple syrup. I was stressed out. So, but am I going to beat myself up about it? No, because I know that I'm going to have my cheat day tomorrow. It's going to be 2 extra days. And then I'm going to work my ass off Sunday. Maybe I'll stay on the bike for an extra 20 minutes or whatever I do Sunday. So it all comes out in the wash. And if you have, that's the key, Nick, if you have a good amount of muscle on your frame, for the person that's listening to this, you're doing a good amount of cardio and you're eating a healthy diet, one extra meal here or there, or if you miss a meal or whatever it is, it's not going to set you back. You might be bloated for a day, water retentive, but you're going to be right back to baseline 2-3 days later. And this is a great message for people to listen. They should pass this along because so many people are just so like that woman I spoke about. And
they've been in the wrong mindset for years, and it's not doing them any service.
They're miserable, and there's no way to live.
Yeah.
You know, listen, I was going to even, and I was going to stop myself. I was going to say, if you're a supermodel but even those people need to do these things for the metabolic advantage because they can stall out too. But, you know, if somebody's getting paid millions of dollars a year for their physique, then, you know, if you want to take a laser beam out on every little thing, if that's your thing.
And I realize we have a lot of supermodels that are watching this show now, so we're really talking directly to you. Anybody else can tune out for a couple of minutes.
Well, they're watching you, Nick.
That's right.
You know, the perfect skin.
All right, let's wrap this up. Any last thoughts for everybody?
Yeah, I just hope that this video helped you because so many people are plagued with over dieting, you know, and hopefully this gives you, provided that you have no health conditions that this type of eating would make worse because your doctor said you shouldn't, then you should listen to your doctor. But if everything's clean, bill of health, you should really look forward to this because it's going to really supercharge your metabolism and give you something to look forward every 7 days. So don't get stuck in the dieting forever camp because that's just no way to live. So life is short. You want to be healthy. You want to eat healthy food most of the time, but you also want to reward yourself with the things that you love the most because food is awesome, Nick.
Yeah, food is awesome.
You know, so that's it. That's all I got.
All right, well, I feel like I learned a lot today. I'm so happy that we can all have some cheat days. I want to hear about your cheat days. How are you living your best life on your days where you can eat whatever you want? I mean, of course, I know some of us are eating what we want every day, but cheat days are really something to look forward to, and I want to hear all about it. Remember to give us a like, a comment, a share. Tell people about this episode if you enjoyed it, and I guess cheat days start now, don't they, Mike? Well, happy cheat day, everybody. Mike's already started, so enjoy yours. Thanks for watching.
You said I was done. Happy cheat day, everybody. Please hit the like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so you don't miss any content in the future.